Hello, everyone. I am Maria, and I am the admin of the Money Making Esthetician group. And today we're joined with the lovely.
Hello, it is me, Lexi Choate-Bewley, also known as Skin by Lexi.
So exciting. So I was so excited when we had thought about this live because I love the topic. It's promote yourself unapologetically, which I think is so hard to do because second think yourself. So I want to start it off with what does it mean to promote your business unapologetically mean to you?
I think that it means a few things, but the first thing that I think of is posting even when you think you've posted too much, or like marketing even when you think you've marketed too much. I feel like we as business owners, it's like, oh, I want to bombard people, but I also don't want to, miss an opportunity to find a new client who's scrolling. So I think it's just about keeping posting and then knowing that, if you're posting too much, that people can like mute your account or things like that, but you're still posting for those people who do want to find you.
I love that. Like everybody, how did you get started in the industry?
Yeah, so I went to beauty school when I was 15. So I did the regional occupational program through my high school. And so I would go to like my have to classes, like English, math, social studies, science. And then I'd get out around 1 o'clock. I'd go to beauty school from 1 to 9. And so I was licensed in aesthetics before I graduated high school. And then I finished out my senior year. And then I started working at a European wax center that was local like a week or two after I graduated high school. That was my first industry job.
What did your family say when you're like, I want to go to beauty school?
What's funny is that their response now to that question is very different than what I remember them saying back then. My mother, and my mother's here, she's actually in the back room and she's going to cringe, but my mother and my father were both very much like my dad's like, I don't want to do that. You're not going to finish. And it was true. I had a hard time finishing tasks in classes, like in my English class, math class. I was bored. I didn't like it. Like it didn't captivate me. So I wasn't a great student in that sense, because it wasn't interesting. And so he's like, no, if you don't finish, then, I know that you won't. And it was actually my stepmom who was like, no, like this is something that interests her. Like she will stick with it because she likes it. And so that's actually, not a lot of people were behind it, but I loved it. And I knew that I had such a passion for skin because I had acneic skin. And so I did it, and here we are. But if you ask them now, they're going to say they always supported me 100%.
Your mom's in the back, like,
yeah, in the back, she's like freaking out right now, I bet, in the back room. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you went to aesthetic school, you started promoting at the beginning, were you promoting yourself unapologetically, or were you like, at what point did it like click?
So because I worked for another brand, right? So like I was a European wax center. There wasn't really Instagram when I was working. There was like MySpace still and Facebook, but it wasn't like business wise yet. And so no, you couldn't self promote because it was a business where they would funnel you clients, like you'd have non-requests and they would funnel you clients that way. So, and then at the spa, I worked at the wax center for 5 years. I went to the spa in 2014. And I'd still say that social media was just kind of starting for like business pages, right? Instagram was more like post the pictures of your food still, So I'd say probably in like 2015, that's when I started like a Lexi at the spa page. And it wasn't even Skin by Lexi, it was a different name. And I didn't really promote myself too much. I promoted my team because I was a lead esty. So I would promote like our new service offerings, our product specials, things like that. Like nothing like my page is now because I was still under someone else's brand and like what they wanted me to post. And my page was okay. I think I had like 4,000 followers when I left the spa.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I had like 4,000 followers when I left the spa in 2020. And then when I changed my name to Skin by Lexi and I started really posting like me, like unapologetically being me, like whether you love it or you hate it, like this is what it is. That's when my page and opportunities just blew up.
Okay, so how did it blow up? And what were you doing? Because I want everybody who's watching, what did you do to make it blow up?
I feel like I really just posted things more about like myself and me. I feel like my page before was like the spa, the building, like services, product. And that is
I
exciting to
love
people,
that.
but it's not something that grabs connection. People connect with their service provider, right? So like I feel like now my page is like a preview. It's like a movie preview or like an Apple Music like sound preview of like what you get. And so people are like, oh, like this is Lexi. This is who she is. This is how she talks. This is how she sounds. This is what she offers. And it's like a little preview. And then they get to connect with me rather than just the products and service offerings I have.
Do you post it on your grid or in your stories?
I do both.
How?
I post it on my grid and then I just hit share to story.
Got it. Do you ever just do it on your stories where it's like,
Maybe I do things like a client brought me a coffee today on my story, or like spa day in the room, but I really try to post on my grid at least like once a day, twice a day, maybe.
do you think there's a difference between the grid and the stories?
Yes.
What?
I think that the stories keep people's attention because you pop up at the top of their thing, so it keeps you in their eye. And I think the grid is good for people who scroll through and finding new accounts who are on like the For You feed.
I love that. So, oh my gosh, so much work, right? Because you have all these things going on. How do you stay up to date with everything? Like, do you take more classes? Do you?
Yeah. So the last services I added on were probably the dermaplaning, brow tint. So that became available for California Estes in 2021, right?
Just
2023.
happened. Yeah.
So that just happened. So I did the classes for that. So that was the last like big certification class I took. And then I also just added on an ultrasound device, and I did that learning through like online classes here with an instructor. So I try to stay up on the latest technology, but I also am very like, for example, like brow lamination, like love that service. And I totally refer out for that service, but it's not something I added to my service offerings just because at this point, rather than me doing 1,000 things, I just want to do like 10 things really well. And so
Agreed.
yeah, and so when before it wasn't like that. I did bridal makeup and I did I don't know, I dabbled in lash extensions, blah blah blah, and I wanted to do everything. But now my books, I want to just be full with the things I love.
What are the things you love?
I love waxing. Waxing will always be my first love. And I love corrective skincare. I love relaxing skincare too, and definitely my facials still are relaxing, but I love when I can change someone's skin.
100%. I was like, are we the same person?
We are. We're best friends and twins. I think so. Yeah.
Literally. So you took the dermaplane course. You do the waxing. When you brought on the new, because it was a new treatment, how
Yeah.
did you promote it?
So I created a new service. Because I like my bookings to be very simple. That's why I like to use Gloss Genius. Here's a plug, but I like to use Gloss Genius because it lets me keep the service offering simple. So like, I really hate having like add-ons because it confuses people. They're like, do I need this add-on?
Yeah.
So I just want to have like a dermaplane facial, a hydroderm facial, a custom facial. So I created the hour dermaplane until I got really good at it and quick at it. And then I created the half an hour dermaplane. And
And how do
then
you charge for both? How much?
that's a great question. Let me get to my price list. My 30-minute I know is 175, and then my hour dermaplane is 275.
Oh, my
And I
price is
have
just went
that
up.
here on my convenient service listing on Gloss. I'm just kidding. Okay, and then that went really well. And then
Or like
people
link
were
in
like,
bio.
right, exactly, right? You can look here. That went really well. And then I wanted to combine the hydroderm, like suction technique, with the dermaplaning. And so I got a machine with a soft silicone tip, and I got really good at that. And that was my hour. And my hour is 325. And then I got really good at doing both of those together. And someone was like, hey, Lex, I just want to do a quick half an hour. And I was like, oh, that's something you'd want? She's like, yeah. So I created the half an hour dermaplane and hydroderm together. And that is $215. So that's my most popular service. So it kind of traveled to where I thought I would have to have an hour to do it, but when I got quick at it, that's how it unraveled.
I love that. Can you give an example of a successful marketing technique you've executed in the past?
Yeah, so most of my booking comes from social media or word of mouth, but I work Wednesday through Saturday. So like on Sundays and Mondays when confirmation texts go out, that's when appointments will shift around or spots will open up. And then that's when I'll send out like an email campaign and to everybody on my Gloss Genius. So it's easy because I can send it out to like 800 clients in one message and it's done. And then they'll book online. And usually that books it up. But if it doesn't, then I'll send out a text campaign, which I don't like to send out text campaigns too much. Like I like to do one every like 3 weeks or like once a month or so, just because I feel like I want to market unapologetically, but I don't want to be like, damn, Lexi's annoying, you know? So I like to send out.
So two things really quick. So
Yeah.
Unapologetically is more on your Instagram for the new clients. For your
Yeah.
current clients, you're more aware.
Yeah, right.
Love
Because
that.
they already know me and I know that they do want to book. I just don't want to bombard them. And like, I know they know how to book if they want to book. So I want to keep them up to date, but I also don't want to be like, hey, I have an opening. Hi, how are you? Like, do you miss me? See you later, you know? So,
You're like, send a picture of yourself. Do you miss my face?
right, exactly. Like, are you thinking about me? Like, yeah. So, yeah. So usually I'll do a text campaign like once a month. And then if there's spots open, and that books up super quick, like literally within like 3 minutes. And then I feel bad because people are like, hey, you said you had a 10 o'clock. It's not there. I'm like, sorry, it got booked.
When you actually, yes. My goal in life was to be able to post something on Instagram and I actually get booked.
Yeah.
When you first started, was it like crickets?
On my own?
Yeah.
No. So there's actually a post from like my first like 3 hours when I did my booking link live. And I was so nervous. It was in 2020. So I opened in November of 2020. We were like, everything was shut down in California, right?
Like, of course you did.
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Okay, I'm gonna put my link live. And I was like hyping it up to my clients and on Instagram. And then I had within like the first 3 hours, I had like $1,100 of services booked. And I like cried and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is gonna work. And that seemed so big to me at that time because I
That's
was like,
huge.
oh my gosh, like we're shut down. No one wants to go anywhere. No one wants to breathe anyone's air, but people are gonna come in. And that to me, I think maybe it was like 8 clients that booked or something like that. But having that in the first 3 hours, I was like, oh my God, it's going to work. It's going to be fine. And it was. And then we got shut down again briefly. And then we opened back up and it's just taken off since then. And now my database, I have almost 900 clients in my database. I think it's like 896. So we're almost there.
So 2 questions, and I'll get to Amber's really, really quick, I promise. Because I love to gear towards helping estheticians and giving real stories, right?
Yes.
You say you booked within the first 3 hours. Were you doing a strategic plan to come up to opening your live? Like, were you posting on social media for 2 months? Were you already working with your clients, that kind of stuff?
Well, yes and no, right? So I was on maternity leave when COVID happened. And so I was home. The spa I was at was shut down and then they opened back up and I still had leave. So I stayed at home and then I realized I didn't want to be in a large spa setting with an infant at home and COVID happening. So that's how I decided to go on my own. So I couldn't reach out because of non-competes, right? I couldn't reach out. I could have. I chose not to because that's just not how I wanted to start off my business, to reach out to those clients directly. But a lot of them had already followed me on social media. And so a lot of them had already seen that I was opening up my own spot. So I was like, okay, I announced it maybe in August that I was going to go on my own. And then I was like, okay, I have leave until November. I'll actually take clients in November. Hopefully COVID is like gone by then, blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, I'd say that I kind of started over because I didn't reach out to clients and be like, hey, I'm here now. I just posted it, and whoever saw it did, just because I wanted to be respectful of the contracts I know I signed.
Totally. So how is your half an hour different from your 1 hour treatment? Your dermaplaning?
Yeah. So let me tell you what my half an hour is, and then I'm going to tell you what I add on to it to make it the hour. So my protocol real quickly is 2 cleanses, so a double cleanse, and then I apply the dermaplane AHA BHA toner. I apply the prep oil, dermaplane real quick, do their little fruit gommage, take that off, do any extractions, and then put on finishing serum, moisturizer, sunscreen, eye cream, roll that in with some cute globes, and I'm good. And then the hour is all of that. Plus, I'll put on a jelly mask, let that set while I do the hand and arm massage, put on some heated mitts, shoulder décolleté, feet, and lower legs, and then just have more time for that massage and pampering. That's really the biggest difference. So the biggest difference between my protocols of my half an hours and my hours is that jelly mask and then the body pampering.
That answers the question. So I have some questions.
Yeah.
How do you balance promoting your business with maintaining a genuine connection with your clients? So like, because we all know posting on social media is work.
Yeah.
You're a mom.
Yeah.
You have this amazing following, this great business. How do you like keep that connection?
I find that I try to batch create. And what I mean by that is for reels, I will say that I have a really creative mind. And like when I am driving, that's when I get like my funny video ideas, and then I'll write them down real quick in my notepad. But what I do mostly, like if I have a client who cancels last minute and I'm in the studio, I'll batch create. So I will go through and I will make drafts of like 20 different reels, save them, and then I'll go back, and each day when I need to post something, then I'll write in the captions and the edits and the whatevers. But that works really well for me for reels. And then for actual like content pictures, I just post as kind of things come up in my mind. And if I feel like, oh, I don't have content for today, then I will copy and paste one of my reviews. Gloss is really good. I have like 250 reviews on there. I think I have like 30 on Yelp and like 14 on Google. Like, because Gloss, each time that you check out, it sends a review link that says like, hi, like if you could take a minute to review, you don't need to create an account. So easy. So I have so many there. So like I have 250 content things right there. And then I'll just post that. I keep my hashtags in my notepad in my phone. So I just copy and paste it, and it takes less than like 30 seconds to post. But I'll do that like while my kid's jumping on the trampoline, or like while I'm waiting for him to like actually get his physical body into the car seat, because that takes a minute. I'll be like, oh yeah, go ahead and do that, and I'll post it. So it seems like I'm really active on social media, and I am on there, but I'm not on there all day. But I'm glad that it appears that I am.
Totally. What marketing channels have been the most effective for your business, and why?
Instagram for sure. And all the like Facebook local groups. So Instagram mostly, like when I have my consultation forms come in and it says like, how did you hear about Skin by Lexi? It's mostly the gram. But also like my clients are really good at on the social groups when they're like, hey, like I need an esthetician who's local. Who do you recommend? There's like boom, 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 boom. I'm getting tagged over and over.
What do you think you do to get those referrals? Do you, one, give them an incentive? Two, how do you make it? Because you get all these clients, right? Yeah. How do you get them to retention? How do you keep them?
I think that I do a really good job of a client now this is something that I'm proud of and I try to shy away from. Clients know that they could reach out to me anytime and I will be there to get back to them. There's some estheticians who, I had a client actually a couple of months ago. She's like, yeah, my esthetician told me like I was too much. Like I couldn't text her and like reach out to her. So she like kind of broke up with me. And I was like, oh, I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I don't think we need to FaceTime every day, but yeah, if you need to text me to ask me a question, I'm there. So I think that I do a really good job of making myself accessible to my clients. And so in the days right now, like I'm the same way. Amazon Prime, like I expect everything. I expect an answer or something to get to my doorstep within 24 hours. And so I find that most of us, we look for that. And so I am accessible to my clients. And so that's what makes me different, is that they don't have to wait, till business hours to text me. I try to keep a healthy boundary of like, hey, can you like text me like from 9 to 5? Like, can you not text me at 3 a.m.? Or like I won't respond at that time and I'll respond during business hours, but they know that they'll get a response from me within 24 hours.
And then client retention. Are you like, my room is perfect? I do.
I think because it's the results I provide. I think that my clients who come to me, so here's the difference between my clients at the spa and my clients now. When you're at the spa or you're at a chain, or you're at a business, right? Like when someone calls and they're like, hi, I just want to get a facial. I don't know any of your technicians. They're funneled to whoever's available, right? And then there is, which is great for building your books, but also there's the potential that client is going to be like, that's not who I was expecting, what I was expecting. That's not what I wanted. Not even service wise, just like connecting with people. Right. And so though I had a lot of clients at the spa, there was always that, chance of like not connecting with the client, right? And then being like, oh, that was good, but like it's not who I wanted. Now it's like clients get to view me exactly as I am, on Instagram. So like they're like, oh, I want her. Like, and there's not much room for them to be surprised about who I am, how I perform, because they've got to see everything that goes on in my room and me. So that's how I think I keep clients, because they're like, oh yeah, that's my girl. And there's not a room for like personality clash, or like they're like, oh, I want results driven skincare, I want medical grade. Like all those things are pretty spelled out on my advertisement.
I love that. How do you, because you put yourself so out there, how do you handle, if any, negative feedback?
Yeah. I don't do well with it. I don't love it. And I will like think about it. Honestly, I do think about it and I try to laugh it off, but like I remember like out of all the great reviews I have, there's like one bad review. And I knew it was coming because I had broken off a business relationship with a client, right? And so I knew, I was like, my phone's going to go off any second. I know I'm going to get that review. And it was like, you have a bad Yelp review. And it said like, she's a great esthetician, but like, she's a bitch, pretty much is what it said, and I laughed and I made it at first I was really upset and I was like, how can I report this? How can I get it off? And then I was like, you know what? I can't. So we're just going to roll with it. And I actually made it into content, not to make fun of the client or anything like that. But to use it as an opportunity to show people like, hey, even though I have all these clients, I have all these awards, I have all these people want to be, in my studio, there's still going to be someone that you're not their cup of tea, and that's fine, and I use it as a learning point. And a lot of estheticians connected with that, and they were like, oh my God, I was so embarrassed of the bad reviews I had, or I was crushed when I would get one. And I kind of just used it to show like, hey, you could do everything A1 all the time and someone's still going to be like, meh, I don't like chocolate cake, like it's fine. So I try to remember that when I'm like, oh, damn, like things happen though. People don't mesh. And that's why, we all have exes, right? Like we all don't mesh with people all the time. It's okay.
Did that fuel you, or did that like make you sad for a little bit?
It made me sad. It probably made me sad for a little bit and angry. And then I was like, you know what? Like, it's okay. Like, we're going to roll with this and it's fine. Like, think of restaurants. How many reviews restaurants have where they're like, I didn't like the lighting. And you're like, you didn't like the lighting, but how did your pizza taste? You know, like
Yeah.
people just aren't going to like things. And so after I was sad for a minute and I probably ate ice cream, and then I was like, you know what? I'm fine. Let's roll.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So obviously I named this group the Money Making Esthetician because I love empowering women and driving them to make money, because when we make money, we're able to make a difference in our communities, give to our kids, pour back. Just being financially secure is just this, you feel nice, right?
Right.
So I would love to talk about, have you ever, what is some, I have a question, sorry.
You're good.
How can you share some tips on creating effective advertising campaigns for a solo esthetician?
Yeah. So, like, for example, the last new service I just rolled out it's called The Works, and it's an hour facial, and it is literally everything. It's
How much?
a 400.
And then we're going to talk about how you determine that price.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it has dermaplaning, it has hydroderm, it has the new ultrasound pen that I have from Skin Modern. And so it takes an hour, and it has the pampering and all that kind of stuff. So that's the last new service I rolled out. That was a month and a half ago. And even I was like, God damn, no one's gonna book this $400 facial. I was like, but let's see how it goes. And you get like, is this good enough? Like imposter syndrome, like it happens all the time. And so I sent out an email blast and I was like, hey, here's my new service. It does this, this, and this. Here's what it has. Here's the benefits. And it's 400 and you can book it. And I sent it out as an email campaign. And I was like, and I posted on Instagram and I was like, all right, let's see. And I had, I think 4 people book it in 2 days. And I was like, whoo, we're doing good. And then I had clients, they wrote reviews on how much they love the service. I'd post that review, and then I had more people book the service. So like even me, I'm like, is this enough? Is this enough good in this service to charge that much? But you got to go with your gut.
So how long is it?
An hour.
An hour for 400. And then, 400. How did you determine that price?
Well, my hour best of both worlds. I'm just referring to my math here because that's not my strong
suit. You're like looking at Glass Genius.
That's why I have an accountant, y'all. Okay, so my best of both worlds 60-minute, which is just the hydroderm and the dermaplane together and the pampering, that's $325. And I was like, okay, I think I want to do an ultrasound add-on just by itself. If someone wants to add it to another facial, we'll just do 75. So then, and I don't really give like price discounts on stuff. That's just like not something I do. I do discounts on product twice a year, but not really services, just because I don't. And so I just added the 75 to the 325 and it was 400. That's really, my prices are based off of what people charge in my local area. And Walnut Creek is a very, we bougie, y'all. And so people will pay whatever, and that's the price of rent in our area. That's the price of the products I carry. Is clinical, high grade products. And so kind of just basing it off of
that. Somebody asked, what hydroderm machine do you use?
I use it's called Anima Elements. It's the oxygen and hydrodermabrasion machine from Dermagem. The reason I use that one, I had the other one from Aesthetic Spa Supplies. I think Glonar carries it as well. It's like the little one with the 2 blue or green canisters. I loved that machine for so long until I started dermaplaning. And then I was like, the hard acrylic for me is too much to use with the dermaplaning and be able to do it quick.
Yeah, 100%.
So that silicone tip is a changer. That's literally all I use all day when I use the hydroderm. Unless someone doesn't do dermaplaning, then I will use the diamond tip on them.
So I currently use Gloss Genius, but my clients do put a card on file. What do
Yeah.
you recommend to transition for all the payments to be taken from the booking site, as I will be protected with a no call, no show, and cancellations?
Is that on the chat? I'm going to reread that so I can visualize it here.
Yeah.
Currently use offers, but my clients do put a card on file. What do you recommend to transition for all the payment being taken from the booking site, as I'll be protected? I don't understand.
You
Maybe
could turn your mic on. You could turn your mic on and ask the question if you'd like.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So new solo esthetician here. So in this case, a lot of my clients don't put a card on file, so I manually book it for them because they reach out to me via DM. But usually when they do a rebook after their appointment, they usually cancel last minute. There's no call, no shows. So I feel like I'm not protected as a business, you know?
Got it. You don't have them put a card on file. Got it.
Correct.
Got it. Now I get it. Okay, yeah. So I don't take a client unless they put a card on file. And I have them book it online. So, for example, I had a client who, for whatever reason, this is just something that I do, and you don't have to do this, but I had a client who emailed me, called me, texted me, and then actually came in and caught me when I was in between clients and asked me the same thing each time. She's like, "Hi, I will always show up to my appointments. I don't want to use a card on file. I only want to pay in cash." And I was like, "I appreciate that, love it, and I'm sure you would show up. It's just my policy that I won't book anybody without a card on file. That's just my thing." And so I think you just have to figure out what your stance is on it. It's way easier to have a card on file than you can charge. But the only thing I ran into, which is why I started doing deposits, and this goes to Amber Lee's question that she just typed. We're like psychic right now. I would find that people had insufficient funds, or they would turn off their cards when I went to go charge them for the no-show fee. And so that's why I started taking deposits only on my facials. I'm quick, so I can pivot if someone cancels last minute on waxing because it takes such little time. But, for a 90-minute block of time for a facial with cleanup time and all of that, that's a lot to not be able to charge. And then it just makes me mad. So then I just decided to do deposits just to have the money there just in case. But definitely I would not take a client unless there was a card or deposit on file. That's just me.
With the deposits for say on Gloss Genius, do you swipe in reserve with deposit, right? Or do you have them send it to you personally?
Through Gloss. All my clients book online. I don't book anyone in person unless they are pre-booking for their next appointment. Yeah. I funnel if someone calls me, I'm like, "Hey, love it. You should do the custom facial. Just hop online so I can get all your info there. I can make sure it's accurate, and then you can view all your stuff in your own time."
You know what I found really effective for that too is like a client will DM me and they'll ask me what questions and we'll go back and forth. And because I heard that you have to like help your clients. So I'm like, "Hey, here's the booking link. Go ahead and book the red carpet. If you need any help, please let me know." And then literally boom. And they love that.
Yes.
Because you're also teaching them.
I always respond to people, and I actually have I have a "what should you book" copy and pasted. So I'm like, "Hey, if you want just face focused, here's your 30-minute. If you want pampering, do a 60-minute. If you want peach fuzz removed, dermaplaning." And I have a thing that I copy and paste, and I just throw that to each client who asks, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's great information. Thanks for taking the time." And you're like, "You're welcome. I copy and pasted it."
So send them your booking link. So be like, "Hi, thank you so much for reaching out. I recommend the 1 hour, 90-minute glow up," or whatever. Here's my booking link. And then they'll book.
Yep.
Then you get the card on file.
Yes. Always have a card on
file. How do you figure out deposits?
I only have it for facials right now. Like I said, it's easy for me to pivot with waxing. Like, I'm not worried about a last minute with that. And most of the time, my waxing clients aren't the ones who reschedule. It's the facial clients for whatever reason. But I do $100 deposit on all my hour facials. And then, no, on all my facials except for my express mini facial, which is like a teen facial, because that's $75. So I just do a $50 deposit on that.
Got it. So it's just like $150. How much you charge for your 90? You have a 90-minute?
I don't have a 90-minute. I have a 90, it blocks for 90 minutes because I have 15 minutes of like get there consultation time and 15 minutes of end time, but my longest facial is an hour.
What about time for the consultation, which you just asked? I charge people that are new a consultation fee with treatment.
I think that's a good idea if you're doing consultations in person. I only do consultations over like text or DM or phone because I find that I just need to know like three things. Like I need to know, do you want face focused or do you want pampering? Perfect. We figured out the light. Do you want peach fuzz removed or do you want suction? Yes or no? Okay, perfect. Then you're doing these. Like, or they can send me pictures of their skin. I can tell you in 3 minutes what service I want to do on you. I find like it's not a waste of time, but it is a time that I could be using with a paying client. And I'd rather just get them in for their service. So that's what works for me.
Yeah. How do you balance promoting your business with maintaining a work-life balance to avoid burnout?
Sometimes it's better than others. I'd say for like a good 2 years, I felt like, okay, everything's good. The only time I feel like overwhelmed by like posting and things like that is when I have events going on, or I have like, I'm campaigning for like a local like award, things like that. Then I feel like, oh my gosh, I have to be on top of it. When other times I enjoy social media. Like I really enjoy my page. I think it's funny. I think that I enjoy making people laugh. So it's fun for me. But when I have to be like posting stuff like, hey, I'm doing this product event, you get 20% off, but like make sure that you're sending in your form so I can get your order. Like that's the stuff where I feel like, you know, it's like your mom telling you like, okay, clean your room, you know, like it's like the have to stuff, but it's not the fun stuff. So that's the only time I get like burned out on it. But the majority of the time I really enjoy posting, and it's like a game to me to see like, okay, how many new clients can I get this week? Or like things like that. Like I want to be on the forefront of everyone's mind, though it's just me and I'm not going to hire employees or anything like that. I want when someone's like, oh, where do I go for skincare? 3 people are like Lexi. Like I want to be on the forefront of everyone's mind.
I love that. Do you have people fill out a consultation form ahead of time to determine contraindications?
Yes. So I started doing my digital forms through Jotform. And so Gloss Genius has a section where you can input an outside form. So like when someone books, it says like, thanks for booking, your appointment was approved. Make sure you fill out the required documents before your appointment. And so that's where they can put, I'm using this cleanser, I'm doing this. And Gloss now recently has created where you can create your own form through them. I just haven't done that, and I'm happy with Jotform through it. But yes, I have them do a digital form. When I first started, I did paper forms. And then once my book started to grow, I was like, oh my God, I have 400 papers just right here. So now I do digital.
What is a good post to get more followers? Prize giveaway ?
Yeah, I think that giveaways help a lot. Like I like to work with different genres of businesses. So for example, like Active Family Magazine is a page that I work with where they mostly post about things to do around the Bay Area, places to take your kids or family events, things like that. I like to work with them because they're a completely different niche than skincare. And I know that out of their 10,000 followers, there has to at least be a couple hundred that don't have a skincare provider yet. So I suggest to work outside of your industry in order to gain more followers. It's awesome. And I totally do giveaways with industry people as well. But those industry people, all their followers already have them. So if you're wanting to grow your page, hit up the local cookie lady because you know that her people liked her cookies, but they probably don't have a person for their brow wax yet. So that's what I would recommend.
How do you recommend they reach out? So I have my cookie lady. I'm like, I know what cookie lady I want to go to. How do you reach out to her? What do you tell her? Do you DM her? Do you walk into her store? Do you send her an email?
It goes down in the DM, you know? I would send her a DM. It does. Yeah, I would send a DM and just be like, hey, so literally this is what I did. I did a giveaway with a local piercing artist, cookies, Yellow Freckle, who makes like all my physical acrylic signs and cute stuff. I reached out to Sunrise Bistro, a brunch place by us, and someone who does lashes, because I was like, hey, I don't do lashes, so my clients can go to her, vice versa. Reached out to all of them and I said, hey guys, I'm trying to put around a giveaway for like best Bay Area spots. Is there something that you'd be willing to contribute? We can all post it. And I think we each got like a couple hundred followers from that post, because we were all different avenues of businesses.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite thing to do as a live is to challenge people, because you got to put some pep in your step. So I want everyone to think of one business that you're going to DM. And Lexi, you want to give them a script to what they should write to them?
Yeah. Just be like, hi, I am so-and-so, and this is what I do. I'm trying to network with different small businesses in my area. Have you ever done a giveaway, or are you interested in doing something? Even if it's just like a $25 gift card or something, be like, this is what I'm trying to set up, and let me know if you're interested. And then they'll probably be like, sure, I can deliver a $25 gift card. And then just create a cute little digital. Make sure that you make them a collaborator so that it goes to both of your pages, and then all your clients are seeing that. And then, look up like a simple script of like, tag 3 friends, share for extra things, and then just keep track of who shares. You can do one of those random, like, who wants to be chosen things. That's fine. Or you can just tell your kid like, hey, choose a number between these numbers, and he'll yell 7, and then you just pick 7. So
I love that. So cute. Have you ever paid for advertising on Instagram or Facebook?
Yes. So this is my chain of what I do. So if an appointment opens, and like I have a lot of open appointments or something, like I think last year, like right before Halloween, like I think everybody decided to go on vacation. So I sent out my email thread. If there were still spots, I send out my text thread. If I still have like more than 3 open spots and I really want to get it filled, then I'll go ahead and I will boost a post on Instagram.
Okay. How much do you pay for that?
I don't know. I think my limit is like, I'll do $5 a day for like 3 days.
Okay. And how many do you get on a return? Like you'll get that spot filled?
Usually.
Got it.
Usually.
If your client doesn't pre-fill out the digital form, how do you have them complete it? You're like, they complete it.
They freaking complete it. If it's that day, girl, I'm serious. And this is totally fine if not everybody is this upfront, but like, time is money. Okay. So like, I need to make sure that I can get their whole service done, refer products to them, write down their home care, give them samples. Like, we have things to do. So if I notice that someone doesn't have their forms done the night before, I'll text them and be like, hey, didn't see that your form was filled out, or like, can you fill out the form? Here's the link. Also, it's in my communication from Gloss Genius. Let me know if you have questions. And then they fill it out. But it's rare they don't, because of that email from Gloss where it says your appointment was approved before you come in, fill out the required documentation. And that sounds scary. And so they're like, oh my God, I'm going to fill that out.
That sounds scary. I love that though. I love the fact that you're very personable. So, cause like you are reachable, but you also have certain boundaries, because you're like, this is still a business. And I love, like, one of the things that I want to push is there's nothing wrong with making money, because this isn't a hobby. This is our livelihood.
Right.
And that's what I really want. And then with all the education and expertise that you've put into this, like, you should be able to make a profit.
I mean, yeah. I mean, this, at the end of the day, this is our job, And so I love that I have a career where I really do go to work every day and I don't feel like it's work. I feel like I make people look good and I tell jokes the whole time. Like, that is literally what I feel like I do. And it's awesome. And that's it. Yeah. But sure, there was a lot that went into me learning that, getting to this level of confidence where I'm like, I can take on any project. Like, give me the challenging skin. A lot of years and learning went into that. And so, yeah, at this point, I actually, just a quick thing that is kind of off topic, but on topic. one of the stylists at Sola the other day, she asked me, she's like, would you pay an after hours fee or a day off fee as a client? And I said, sure, if it was a day I needed to get in, absolutely. I said, but as a client, I felt that way. But as a business owner, I don't want to work on my days off. I don't want to work late. And so I said, what I suggest and what I have done is I have made my prices high enough that it makes up for maybe those off day charges that I would charge someone, or those late fees I would charge someone. Like, charge enough that you're comfortable that you don't have to work 5 days. I work 4 days. I work 9 to 5. I don't take anybody before or after or on a day off. I love to be home, and I'm thankful that I can be home Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays with my son. But yeah, charge enough that you are able to do that. Like, the clients, there will always be clients who will pay your prices. And there has been times where when I raise my prices, that client's like, I can't pay that. And I'm like, no problem. I understand everybody has a budget. And so I refer them to someone else who, maybe is charging less. But there will always be someone, like I said, with that $400 facial, there always will be someone who's able to charge to spend that. So make your prices so that you also have a comfortable living too.
Yeah. So Rachel asked, what made you choose gloss over square, virago, etc.?
Okay, so great question. I actually created a square site first in the pandemic. So I had an infant. So at 3 a.m, I would be creating my pages, and I went on Wix and I created a whole web page. And then I even printed it out so that I could see it visually and all that stuff. And I created a square page, and I was like, this looks like I made it at 3 a.m. Like, it just didn't look good. It didn't look professional. It looked like I made it. And I didn't want that. I wanted something that looked really nice and professional and stood out. And so I didn't find out about gloss until I went to tour Sola, which is where I have a studio at Sola Salons in Walnut Creek. And I asked the owner, I said, what do people use for booking? And he said they use Gloss Genius. There's a Sola Genius version for Sola providers. And I was like, okay, let me look into that. So I downloaded Gloss because I was like, well, if I ever leave Sola, I didn't know if it would change the website or whatever. And so I just created a Gloss account, and I was like, oh, damn, this is so easy. Like, with my other stuff, I felt like I had to code it, like on MySpace back in the day. Like, it was just too much to make it look good. This was so easy. I literally threw in a description, picked my colors, put a picture of me, and it was done. So that's what made me choose Gloss.
Totally. How do you write down their regimen? Word documents or email? Do you have any special paper?
I do have notepads, and it says Skin by Lexi, and it's very cute. And I used to write it down on there. And that worked for a long time until now. My clients, like I said, my clients are up in the 900s now. Not that they all come in every month, but when it was like 400, I could balance that and I could mostly remember. And now I'm finding that as I have more clients, if it's not written down for me, I'll forget what I recommended for them. So now I text it to them, because then their main form of communication is text to me. So when they're like, hi, Lex, I really love that sunscreen you gave me. What was the name of it? And can I come pick it up soon? I'm like, scroll up. That was Extreme Protect 40. Awesome. Yes, you can come pick it up Wednesday through Saturday, 9 to 5. When would you like to come in? So,
and Gloss also gives you the option to do notes, right?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But then that would be an extra step for me when they texted me to go find their profile. Yeah. And I am all about, like, if you give the laziest person in the room the job, you'll find the easiest way to do it. That is literally me. I want less work for myself so that I can enjoy my personal life more.
I love that. So at this moment, I would like to invite anybody who have like a little more time, if they want to turn on their mics and ask any questions.
Yeah. Oh, someone said, you mentioned samples. What product line are you using, and do they provide samples? I use Is Clinical and Epicutis as my lines, and I purchase samples from them because the results for Is Clinical alone are so astronomical that I know if I give someone samples that within 5 days they're going to see a result and that they will come and purchase it. So it's worth it to me to spend on the sample, but also talking about keeping your prices to where you can do that. Charge enough. Like you could charge $100 for a facial, and then you could charge for a sample pack, and you could charge for a consultation. Why don't you just charge all that up front, and then it seems like you're giving it to the client? You know what I mean?
Totally.
That's what I would suggest. That's what works for me.
Anybody want to turn their mic on?
Come on, guys.
I do. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, thanks for doing this today. By the way, my question is, how do you know when you're comfortable pricing your services at what you price them at? Because I feel like, do you think it's situational or like locational, I guess you could say, depending on where you live, depending on the market that's there, depending on your clientele, like what are the specifics that made you price what you do price, and when did you get to the point where you felt like I can price my services at what I price them at?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, it totally has to do with what people are charging around you. I worked at a spa that was like one of the top spas in the area. 35 years they've been open, blah, blah, blah. And so I really learned a lot about marketing from working at that business. And so when we were pricing new services, I would look at 10 spas or service providers that were like me or like us around the area and kind of find like, okay, I don't want to be way less than them, but I don't want to be way more than them. How do I price comparatively? But it totally depends on what people charge around you, where you're at. Yes. So you just have to look at what people are charging around you, but also, like I said, account for what you pay in rent, what you pay in product. You have to make sure that you're paying your bills too, you know? So I'd say those two things together, but yeah.
So one of the things, because I am going to send this whole recording out in the newsletter, which I put in the link in the chat. So I'm also going to put the questions so girls want to rewatch and kind of take some notes. But in that newsletter, I'm going to write a script for everybody so everybody can, if they're inspired to raise their prices, they could send it out via newsletter. So
yeah.
What's the name of the hydrofacial machine and price for the machine, please?
I have no idea the price of the machine, but it's the DermaGem Anima Elements on their website so DermaGem, DermaJem. And it's the Anima Elements, and I have no idea how much it is.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
I actually have to go to the treatment room.
There you go,
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. You guys, please subscribe to the newsletter, which I put the link again in the chat to get the replay. In the replay, there's going to be all kinds of, in the newsletter, there's going to be a script for you guys to raise your prices. Yeah. So thank you so much.
And if you guys have more questions, DM me on Instagram. My page is Skin by Lexi, and I'll be happy to help where I can.
Yay. We have to totally do this again.
Heck yeah, girl. Now we're pros. Hello.
Hello. Well, thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.